Welcome back once again to the high school sports page, brought to you by the Burns Insurance Group. Terry and I are now going to take a look at some more poll action. We'll start with 3A. Yes, Alcoa at the top of the list. You'll see CAK is at number 4. Terry, they play each other tomorrow night. And for those who care, if you go to www.rivalrythursday.com, you can watch that game online. Terry?
In the Mid-State, Murphy, CPA stays at the top with a big win over Goodpasture. Upperman's Bees back up to number 2 after a big 38-6 win over DeKalb County. And Sequatchie County moves up a notch after rolling over Grundy County. And White House Heritage in the poll for the first time this year at number 4 after they won their 6th consecutive game, 28-7 over East Nashville. And the Fairview Yellow Jackets drop into the 5th position after falling to Camden in a 32-28 thriller.
Terry, at 4A, no changes. If you look at those 5 teams I have listed up there, I think you're going to see a lot of those people deep into the playoffs. I'm going to Marshall County Friday night to watch and see if the Tigers are for real.
You're going to see a good one, Murph. No change in the Mid-State either. Marshall County with a 1-point squeaker over Maplewood last week. Lipscomb Academy, Page, and Pearl Cone all had big wins. And Springfield had the week off as they prepare for the showdown Friday night with the Firebirds of Pearl Cone. So that's another one of those.
Ought to be a dandy football game. Terry, I'm going to turn this young man to our left over to you here to start things off.
That's right, Murphy. Coach Jeff Brothers of Nashville Christian. Jeff, welcome in. How you doing?
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me back.
Good to have you back. You're number 3 in the AP poll this week, Jeff, in single A. Lofty rankings, 8-1 record so far this season. Yet a little work to do Friday night before you win that division or the regional crown. You're going to the Creek Bank in Trousdale County to take on the Yellow Jackets. Not the easiest place in the world to play.
No, not at all. A very exciting atmosphere. A town that certainly wraps its arms around their football program and sort of identifies itself with the high school football program. And so it's going to be a great atmosphere, a playoff type scenario. Interestingly enough, if we win, we're first. If we lose, we're third. So we'll wind up in the same bracket. May have to turn around and play again about 17 days later. So it's or 14 days after that. So it's going to be a great atmosphere, one that our kids I know will always remember. I've been there a couple times in playoff scenarios when I was with another school, and it was always an exciting environment and a bit hostile sometimes, but that's what makes it fun.
Jeff, your Nashville Christian team has been to the semifinals the last 3 years, the last 2 against Union City. You've got a lot of kids back. Union City's got a fair number of kids back, and I think a lot of people anticipated a 3rd straight semifinal round match between you guys and the Golden Tornadoes. But the way the playoff brackets have turned out to be, so to speak, the West is killer. Just to get to the semis against Union City is going to be a major hurdle.
It is, and you put me on the spot talking about semifinals. We got a big game Friday night, so we're going to concentrate on that. But since you asked, our bracket is very tough, and Union City is strong again. We've got kids now that have only known semifinal seasons, and so expectations are high. But there's a lot of football to be played between now and then against a lot of very good football teams. Got to see Huntington play a few weeks ago during our off week, and they are every bit the team they were, I think, when they went to the championship game just a few years ago. Wayne County beat them the other night, so that says a little bit about Wayne County right now. And so we've got a very tough road to get back to that opportunity, but we would appreciate the opportunity again. But right now we're just going to concentrate on the Creek Bank and make sure we're prepared for Friday night and can get that done. I think the west part of the bracket is very strong, and that's to take nothing away from the teams in the east. I haven't seen any of them play, but I have seen the west teams, and I do know what kind of competition that is, and that's going to be you're going to have to earn it to get to the state championship this year, that's for sure.
Assuming things go as expected, though, the way the winner of your region goes on the brackets, you get to play at home as long as you keep playing.
We do, but we get to play at home against Wayne County, Huntington, and Union City, or Dresden, or Peabody, whoever comes out of that. I mean, I don't think Union City considers themselves a lock for that game either. I think Dresden's going to have something to say about that, or possibly Peabody again. And so, some very good football teams on that side. But being at home would give us some comfort level. At the same time, in the playoffs, you got to play good football. It doesn't matter where you are.
Jeff, when people talk about Nashville Christian, one of the players that comes to mind, obviously right off the top of your head, is Daniel Bituli. state's top recruit this year. He's committed to the University of Tennessee. What's he meant to? He's been a special player for you for quite a few, 3 or 4 years now, whatever it is. What's he meant to your team and your program, both on and off the field, during the time he's been there?
More than the tremendous talent that he possesses, he's a tremendous young man. He is a tremendous leader. He's a great worker. He's unselfish. He really has done a great job of staying humble, and he hasn't had to work at it. He's just a humble young man. He's been invited to, a number of those all-star games, national all-star games, and he's not interested in that. He wants to play basketball and wrestle or whatever it is and be with his classmates and his teammates as long as possible this year. He's an unselfish kid. He ran for almost 1,800 yards as a sophomore. And this year I think he's had 3 carries for about 70 yards. And he came to me early and said, "Coach, we've got guys that can run the ball. I'll be a fullback and block for him." And that's just the kind of guy he is. He works hard in the weight room. He works great in the classroom. We had a conversation today in my office for about 20 minutes just about spiritual things, just some questions he had and some things that we talked about that we both shared. And we're able to talk about things like that. He's just a very deep and emotional young man, and so he's meant a tremendous amount to us on the football field, but even more so just the kind of kid he is in our school and the kind of example he sets for his classmates and his teammates. And we have a lot of those guys. He just happens to be the one that's recognized as the top recruit in the state. So just an outstanding guy and very blessed to coach somebody like that.
Coach, you took a couple of questions away from me with your answer, but that's fine.
I'll answer them again.
That's fine to know that you've got a leader like that, whether it's around the football team or around the freshman class.
Right.
It's a great asset to the school. But obviously he's not the only weapon Nashville Christian has. Tell us about some of the other Eagles that hopefully will be flying high for the next 4 or 5 weeks.
Well, that's what we hope, but
6
weeks will be fine, as long as we can. I think, we have Mario McGraw, who's a Louisville commit, and he plays tailback and defensive back and is a return specialist for us. And he's an electric guy with the football, a tremendous athlete. It's all hard to list them all. We got 15 seniors that all have a part in our game plan, and they all do a tremendous amount of work during the week, and they all just share. It's a very unselfish class. Tremendous leadership in that group. Nathan Hargrove is our center and has been for a few years now, and Austin Shelton and Gunnar Pfeffer playing guard, Robert Brantley playing left tackle. All those guys, outstanding high school football players and great young men. Jalen Jackson at tight end is a tremendous weapon. He leads our team in catches this year, I believe. Great hands, great blocker, very unselfish player. Of course, mentioned Mario. Blake Barfield's another tailback for us that has actually the most carries on our team this year, and shares time with Blake and Mario are 2 of 4 tailbacks that run for us. And so just to be able to have that and those guys share the ball as much as they do and not come to me one time and say, "Coach, why don't I have the ball more?" They all have at least 30 carries or more. They all have 350 more yards. They all have several touchdowns between them. They just are just remarkable young men and really buy into the team model, and that helps us get there. And then Bryce Collier at receiver and TJ Neal at receiver, defensive back. We just have a tremendous senior class, a lot of leaders. But if you're asking about the guys that make the difference, I would even go down to the guys that play on the scout team, especially at a single A school,
sure,
to get a good look to prepare you for the opponent. I don't think we give enough credit to those guys that line up against Daniel and against Brant and against Mario and those guys every day and work them as hard as they can to get them ready for Friday night. So we have, I think, 54 on the team, and everybody has a role in winning on Friday night. And I think if you can measure who's the greatest and who's the least, if the least of us feels just as impactful in the game Friday night as the greatest of us, then we're doing our job.
Well said.
Coach, if you make the semifinals like you were talking about a minute ago, it will be the 4th straight year, I believe, that you've made the semifinals, and it would be at your place, as you mentioned. Tell us what makes your team special this year and why you think you might have a good shot to make it to Cookeville.
Well, again, you're putting me on the spot. We've got a lot of work to do between now and then. But I do feel like for any team, what you got to have is you got to have talent, and I think we have that. You got to have leadership. I think we have that. You've got to stay healthy, and we've been able to do that, knock on wood. And you got to have some lucky breaks along the way, especially in that bracket like we talked about just a minute ago. There are a lot of really good football teams. So to even get to the next round, whatever round that is, you're going to have to play a very, very good football game on Friday night. And I think we're built for that, but it remains to be seen, how that all plays out. I think if you talk to any team that we mentioned in that bracket, they would all say the same thing. They feel like they have the model in place and the players and the talent.
And they do.
It's got to happen. It's got to happen. And we're playing well. We got to peak at the right time. The team that wins in any sport is the team that carries the momentum throughout. And so it's not a matter of necessarily who the best team on paper or who has the best player. It's the team that's playing the best on that Friday night. And we've got to prepare ourselves for that. And lucky enough, we get to try that this Friday night in Hartsville. And it's a playoff mentality, and we're just going to have to keep building on that, week to week.
Jeff, we're almost out of time, but you told me about your brother Jody.
Yeah.
Let's let everybody else know how his success.
My brother Jody won the middle school football, the Parochial League middle school championship Saturday at St. Joseph's. Beat St. Henry's over at Father Ryan High School 27-6. Did a great job this season, went undefeated, and is the best coach in the family, it looks like. So that's good for him.
I was going to say coaching runs in this family. Jeff, glad to have you with us tonight. Good luck on the Creek Bank
Yeah,
Friday
thank
night.
you very much. Thanks for having me.
Jeff Brothers, head football coach at Nashville Christian. He, like 300-plus high school football teams, wind up the regular season this coming Friday night. We're going to take our final break. Be back with more of the High School Sports Page brought to you by the Burns Insurance Group. Let's take a look at Mount Juliet versus Franklin in our video clips.